Hello guys, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today I am going to talk about immigration. Exactly. I am receiving a lot of messages from people that want to understand more about immigration, how it works, what type of options do you have. And I'm going to, in this conversation, we are going to talk about some different options that you can choose from. But before we start talking about immigration, all of the different options, how do you have to prepare yourself, what situations are you going to encounter, and everything that you need to know about immigration, right? Okay. Before that, I want you to like this video, share this video to a friend, because maybe this is going to save someone's life. I'm just joking, but literally, if someone needs to understand a little about the process of immigrating to another country, share this video, because YouTube is going to understand that it's a good video. And alright, and then subscribe, because I am posting videos here on Friday, on Saturday, and on Sunday. And in the future, once a day. Okay, so first off, we are going to talk about the why. Exactly. Why do you want to immigrate to another country? And this is the most important question that you have to keep in mind. You know why? Because everybody that I know, in some point of our conversation, they're gonna say, "Hey, I have this dream of immigrating to the U.S. and blah blah blah, and I'm just working real hard to accumulate wealth and be able to buy the airplane tickets and do all the process that is necessary to immigrate to the U.S." Okay, but the first thing is, I want you to ask yourself, this is the most important question. Why do you want to leave your current country? Why, inside your mind, why do you think that immigrating to the US would be a better option for your future self? Why do you want to leave your country behind and immigrate to the US? What thoughts in your mind decide that would be the best option for you? And okay, so we are going to detail a lot of different answers. So because, for example, the reason that you want to immigrate could be different than the reason that, for example, Thiago wants to immigrate to the US. So first off, let's think about some different options and the different whys. Each person has a why. And I'm talking about a lot of people that because I'm teaching English for more than 10 years, so I talked with a lot of people and I asked these questions to all these Brazilians that wanted to immigrate. So I have a bunch of answers, and I'm going to answer. I'm going to basically present the answers that I learned in the past 10 years of these Brazilians. The first answer is wealth. So the first answer that a lot of people give is, "Hey, I'm not satisfied with the amount of money that I am receiving currently in Brazil. I'm not satisfied with my job. I'm not satisfied with my financial life here in Brazil. And I want to go to a country that is going to provide the necessary resources so that I can achieve the dream life that I want." Okay, so first off is the financial factor. A lot of people are not satisfied on how much they are earning in Brazil, and they want to go to the US because the US they have the best economy in the world, right? Dollar, if you compare, if you earn, for example, in Brazil 3,000 reals, if you go to the US and you earn the same amount but $3,000, you're going to earn 5 times more compared to Brazil. So that is real big, right? That's dramatic, that's drastic, and I post a lot of cases on my social platforms of some students that went to the US and got the job and immigrated and are living wonderful lives on the financial aspect. Okay, so that's the first answer. The second answer that is very, very frequent of Brazilians is security. So if you think about security, and if you compare the US to Brazil, for example, when I first arrived to Brazil, it was crazy. I remember this like it was yesterday, right? I came to Brazil, I arrived here, and I kept looking at all these houses with all these big walls, and I couldn't understand why. And I asked my father, like, why can't I even see the houses here? Why is everything so, the walls are so high, and you have a lot of cameras and barbed wire, and even like some people put cement with glass on top of the walls, and I just couldn't understand, because I was used to a very secure country, and the US provides the US provides the security that maybe you are looking for, right? And you don't have to worry, for example, if you left your wallet on top of your car. Just an example, because literally the security there, yeah, and even on the streets. Okay, so I'm talking about the streets. You don't have to worry like in Rio. For example, when I went to Caraguatatuba, the north shore of Brazil, it was the first time that I got robbed. They stole my phone, and it was like literally 11 o'clock in the morning, right? So it was almost noon, and it was the first time that I got robbed. They stole my phone, and they stole my girlfriend's phone at the time. And the thing is, right, you have to think about these factors, and I'm not complaining. I love Brazil. That's why I'm here. I could like go tomorrow to the US, but why have I chosen Brazil? Why did I decide to stay here in Brazil? So that's another topic that we can do a whole nother video about, but the main focus is, a lot of people say security. I want to walk on the streets and feel secure. I want to not have to worry all the time if I am using, like, if I am holding my phone in a strange street. And look, I'm not saying that the US, you can't be robbed. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that if you compare to the percentage of violence and robbery that happened between U.S. and Brazil wins, right? So United States is very secure. The law there is very, very... Look, that's the thing, right? So the law in the U.S. works. So if you do something wrong, you are going to pay. And this is very interesting, because I remember this like it was yesterday, really. I remember a situation that I was with my parents, and we were going to Walmart, I think, and I saw like 3 cop cars parked on front of Walmart, and they had this person, but I can't remember the details of this person, but they detained this person that my father was curious, right? I mean, Brazilians are very curious, and my father asked the cops, like, what happened? What's the situation? And the cop was very nice, and he answered, because some cops are very, very mean, and they don't really answer anything. But the cop was okay, and they say, hey, this guy stole a toothbrush from the store, and we detained him, and we are taking him to the cop station, right? So in that moment, my father was in shock. He told my mother about this situation, and obviously he told me, and he was like, hey, take a look at this. The guy stole a toothbrush, and he's going to the cop station. He's going to the police station because he stole a toothbrush. So when I say the law works in the US, the law works in the US. And the problem is, when we talk about Brazil, it's a bit more complicated, because I saw a lot of cases in Brazil that just were unbelievable. My best friend is an attorney here in Brazil, and he is going to become I forgot what he's going to become, but he's a very important attorney, and he tells me about all these different cases that happens in Brazil, and it's just mind-boggling, really. I mean, like, my mind, I can't even wrap my mind over these situations. I can't even describe how horrible these situations are. And the problem is, he tells me, like, 4 years, literally, if the person is incriminated and he stays like 4 years in jail for, I can't say the names of these crimes, but because of YouTube, but some very serious crimes. Okay, so he goes to jail in Brazil 4 years. Wait 4 years and he's released. Basically, that's it. He just stays 4 years or 3 years and he's released. And it's absurd, because he should be locked up for life. You even have some states in the U.S., for example, Texas, that has life sentences, and that has even like more strict laws, if you know what I mean. So I think that law is something that is really, really a benefit, because, okay, so let's think about why do you want to go to a safer country? Because you don't want to have to worry about all the situations that can occur. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, it's late at night, I can't walk on the streets, or blah blah blah. Oh my God, am I gonna be robbed here? So you have to think about, right, why, and if you want a secure country, you have to know that the law is going to work, and you have to be very careful, because if you're used to the law here in Brazil, if you're used to having like the liberty that you think is okay, and then you go to the US, maybe you're going to have a problem. So you have to keep in mind that the law works in the US, and you have to understand that you have to be according to the law. You have to live according to the law to not have problems, because the benefit of that is that you are going to live a more secure life, right? So first, financial; second, security; third, education. Okay, so the education, when it comes to the educational system in the US, I can say that it is completely different than Brazil. And I'm going to tell you my experience. So listen up. This is crazy, literally. I'm going to tell you guys a story. Right. So I am literate in English. I learned how to read and write in Floranada Elementary School. It's a public school in the state of Florida, United States of America, right? Okay, so listen to this. First off, the first thing that we had to do when we entered the class was to sing the national anthem. We put our hands on our chest, right on top of our hearts, and we used to sing the national anthem. So very patriotic, very, very patriotic. And that's beautiful, because that means that you are proud of the country that you are living in. I think that's fantastic, right? So the culture is very, very beautiful in that aspect. And then the respect, man, the respect that all the teachers had, it's unbelievable. I mean, like, a teacher in the United States of America is very respected. Extremely respected in the United States of America. A teacher there is an authority, a very big authority, right? I can't even compare it to the police. No, I'm not even joking. Like, it's a really big respect when you talk to a teacher. You have to respect that figure of authority, right? And the thing is, when I came to Brazil, I was shocked, because, guys, I'm talking about the respect first. Guys, I was here in Brazil. Some students were like throwing paper at their, like, making paper airplanes and throwing at the teachers, like disrespecting them verbally. I was like, that I was disgusted, because I'm so sorry. I mean, like, I'm talking about what I went through in the educational system in Brazil, and I'm comparing it to the US. I'm not complaining. I just want to make this clear. I'm talking about what happened to me in the schools that I studied in Brazil, and what happened to me in the schools that I studied in the US. I'm comparing, okay? And I'm just talking about my experience. I live in Brazil, just like I said before. I live in Brazil. I'm here for a reason. So I'm just talking about my experience, okay? Don't get me wrong. So the disrespect here in Brazil on behalf of the teachers is really disgusting. I mean, like, verbally, even aggression, right? So that's just another universe. If you compare the educational system in the US and if you compare the educational system in Brazil, it's completely different. Another universe. You can't even compare it. And if you study in a public school in the US, it's gonna be if you compare the educational system here in a public school, compare a public school here in Brazil, public school in the US, completely different. It's much better. You're gonna have a very good education if you study in the US. So respect. The educational system provides good food. I remember when I used to study in Florinada Elementary School, right? I went to the cafeteria every single day, and oh my god, I used to love those carton milks and like the jellos. Just joking, like jelly, right? And oh my god, I just used to love the food. It's so delicious. And I used to like the cafeteria, because if you watch any American movies, you're going to know how a cafeteria is, right? If you watched Twilight, for example, that's exactly what it is, right? And it's so good with the respect. You don't have like things that you have in Brazil that are unacceptable. Like, for example, kids smoking in the bathrooms here in Brazil, because I saw kids smoking in the bathroom. So just the level of respect for the teachers, the level of the educational system, like, it's top notch, really. So if you have a kid in the US, for example, you can be sure that he is going to have the best education possible, right? So that's a factor. And then we can talk about another factor. Okay, so first, financial situation. Second is the security. And third is the educational system in the US. So these are the top 3 reasons why Brazilians want to immigrate to the US. Comment below if you want to know more reasons, because I have a bunch, but these are the top 3: financial situation, security, and educational system. I can do a part 2 of this video. But okay, now let's talk about the options that you have to immigrate to the United States of America. So the first option, you can apply to a student visa. You can practice your English, so you apply to a tourist visa, and you can travel to the US. You can do an exchange program and be very sharp. You're fluent in English. And why am I talking about these types of visas? For you to literally live the culture, get used to the culture. Because if you're used to Brazil and you go to the US, maybe you're going to have a cultural shock at the beginning. So you have to know if that really is what you want for your life, right? But if you go the first time, if you love it and you're like, oh, I decide this is where I want to spend my life for the rest of the years, or for at least like 5 to 10 years, then okay, let's go to the next step, right? And plan your definite stay. You can marry someone that is from the US. That's a possibility. I'm going to talk about all the possibilities. Maybe you go to the US and you fall in love with a guy in New York and you get married, right? For example, Franciele is a student of mine, and man, watch this video. It's such a beautiful video. From 2015. She went to the US. She applied for au pair, a visa for au pair. It's a program that you take care of kids. You have a host family and you take care of their kids. Basically they provide food and education, and you can study, you can live there. So that's an example. She fell in love with Tyler, and now she's married with Tyler, right? And she lives in Washington DC now. So that's beautiful. I think she still is in DC, because last time that I saw her bio, she was in another city. But anyways, the reason is you can marry with someone, fall in love with someone, marry, and you can have the possibility. And then so there are many programs that you can literally search online, and you can decide which one fits best for you, and you can apply to these different types of programs, and you can go and do the interview, apply for the visas, and if you're approved, you're ready to go. You just pack your bags and leave the country, and you build your life. You establish yourself in the US, and you live your life there just like you planned. So first off, you have to think about what program, what type of visa you should apply for, and you should understand the reasons, and then you simply go. And when you go there, you have a bunch of factors that you can prepare yourself for. For example, renting a car, or renting an apartment, or you create your ecosystem in the city that you're going to choose, because that's a very important decision. You have to choose the city on which you want to live. So in my opinion, you should, because for example, oh my god, I love California, right? The beach and like that weather, hot weather. But there are people that love New York City. For example, Dr. Anderson loves New York City. There are people that are city people, right? They love these types of cities. So you have to literally search up, watch some YouTube videos like top 10 best cities to live in the US, and you start to research. I think that the best way is start researching what cities you would like to live in. Start to watch videos and search these cities. Take a look at the culture. Take a look at the possibilities. What type of city fits best with your personality? And then you start to visualize the ecosystem that you would like to live in this city. So, for example, if you're going to do an exchange program, what school would you like to study in, right? What type of, for example, would you like to live in an apartment, a house? Would you like to rent a car? Would you like to buy a motorcycle, or even go buy a, I don't know, like subway or a train, or let me see, bicycle, right? So just visualize the ecosystem that would be best for you to live in, and just map everything out and prepare yourself to live that. Because, for example, if you don't prepare yourself and you just go, you're gonna get surprised, because there is a lot of planning involved when it comes to moving to another country and establishing yourself in a new city, and creating a good ecosystem surrounding you to support you in this new life. And then once you have that, just enjoy. Just breathe and look at the view and enjoy and work and study and just enjoy this new country that you have the opportunity to live in. And if you wanted to live the American dream, you can live the American dream. You just have to map everything out, choose the best type of visa that you should apply, create the ecosystem, prepare yourself mentally, and live the dream, right? The American dream is alive. The United States of America is currently the best economy in the world, right? It's a wonderful country. You are going to feel very secure. You are going to have the best educational support that you're gonna know in your life if you want to study there. You are going to be in a country that the law works, right? So that's why you're going to feel secure, because the law works there. And just enjoy. So that is basically the top 3 reasons why Brazilians want to immigrate. I gave you some options on visas that you should apply for, and even the visualization of the ecosystem that you have to prepare yourself to build and live once you get to this new country and this new city. So yeah, guys, I just arrived to my destination. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you watched this video till here, like this video, subscribe, because I'm posting every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.